And that's why I was excited about coming on here because I haven't really had an opportunity to talk about personal stuff. It's always been how can I help other people? How can here's music stuff, here's mindset stuff.
This is a carpal tunnel. Being vulnerable. Did you get a little vulnerable in me today? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Being Vulnerable, episode 6 of season 3. I got a freaking very special guest for y'all today. It's been a long time waiting. Have him introduce yourself to. You
Yeah,
probably don't need to, but
no, it's fine. There's going to be people that don't know me. My name is David Wilkerson. I am a business consultant for musicians, and I'm also in the band INFINA. We also do DemoNation, which most of you probably know that more than anything. So yeah, I'm in the business of making the music industry reliable, respectable, and viable as a career option. And boy, has it had some backlash.
no. Definitely gonna have to dig into that. Um, it is commendable though.
Thank you,
What
thank
you're
you.
trying to do, man. I'm kind of trying to do a
No,
similar
it's
thing,
similar.
but
Yeah, it's similar. Yeah,
by giving artists who haven't been able to get a chance, like musicians, singers, filmmakers, actors, that it the industry right now is so hard to get into. So
yeah.
paving a path for them to get into the industry, or
That's exactly what I'm doing. Is it's um there's this false perspective that in order to get in, you have to be connected, you have to have money, you have to be popular. None of those things are true. It seems like that on the surface, but nobody's really trying to help people figure out how to do it without those things. And in any other industry, you wouldn't need those things. In the music industry, it's just gatekeepers and financial barriers and things like that. Um, and I guess it's kind of that way in the art field as well. There's a lot of gatekeepers there, and everybody feels like they need to be connected, well connected with the big art suppliers and the big what do you call them? The big events and stuff like that. In order for their art to be valued. But I think as a group, as a whole, if we set the value on the things that we're offering ourselves, people will buy it. And we just got to stop. We got to stop blaming everybody else for why, like everybody blames Spotify for their low payouts,
yeah,
0.003% or yeah, 0.003 cents per stream. But in reality, it's actually a paid marketing avenue. So when you when you stop when you get away from the mindset of I I can't or that doesn't work or whatever and start thinking of how can it work, everything changes. And so that's what I've been doing. My new book's actually out, Musicians Feast or Famine, and it details heavily how it could work to not do things the normal way, to not like try to depend on having thousands and thousands of fans to just be able to quit your job and do art for a living. And um, that's really all that I'm trying to help people do. And in wanting the music industry to be a respectable place, if that's my purpose, when I see people making it less respectable, I have a responsibility myself to say something, even if it hurts me. You know what I mean? And so I've been doing that. I've been reaching out to like I saw somebody complaining about their clients. They're a multi-platinum producer, and they were complaining about their clients wanting to collaborate. And that's he was saying that collaboration is another way of them saying they want your service for free in exchange for uh royalties later, and you should value your service, which I agree, you should value your service. But you can't blame your customers for your business model being bad if there's people that hit you up and say, hey, I want to collab, and that's bothering you. Then change the way people can reach out to you, change the way that you market yourself, change the way that you tell people what you do and how much you are valued,
yeah.
but instead they go to threads and complain about it. And I'm like, this dude is a millionaire. How does he have time to worry and complain about everybody that's You know,
Yeah.
like something's wrong there, and that's happening all over the place. This guy was telling people to worry about scammers, and I'm um this is where we get personal a little bit. My mother been has sort of drilled into me this idea that everything is a scam. And the moment that I decided to invest in myself, the entire time where I'm seeing the fruits of that investment, she's still putting it down, even not directly, but emotionally and contextually. Like she'll say things and whatever. She'll put it down as if it's still a scam. So those sorts of messages where you're, I don't know how much you know, but I think we talk about mental health and stuff all the time. um, your reticular activating system, when you're told to look out for something and you focus on it, that's all you see. So if you're told everything's a scam, every opportunity that comes your way, your brain immediately says, "No, this is a scam." You know how many times DemoNation has like we've got $1,000 prize pool and I couldn't get traction because of that. It when it was free, when I wasn't paying anything, people
Yeah.
were showing up at the door. The second I said $1,000, all of a sudden everybody thought it was a scam. Why? Because nobody in the music industry is that generous.
Yeah. No, yeah.
It's a shame.
I could
Yeah,
see that.
yeah,
And there's so much scams out there. Like I every single time do a Twitch thing, I get someone tries to scam me, trying to make them, graphic designers that are all and
yeah.
and then you go and look at their stuff and they're all the same art. All these profiles have the same art style. I think it's just AI. They're just using AI, so they're just trying to get you to pay.
That's why I think it's super
Uh,
important for musicians to just like be personal. Some of the things I've gone through could be extremely helpful to other people if they can see what the other side of that looks like and how difficult it is. Because on the outside looking in, it seems like everything's put together, you know.
yeah,
But there's there's always those traumas and there's those things. So I think the difficulty for me is trying not to be bitter about it and not say bitter things, but I still have to speak the truth. And so there's a hard line there, you
yeah,
know, like how do you how do you say stuff to let people know what you've been through without being bitter about it when it's still fresh,
yeah.
you
When
know?
it's, I guess when it's still fresh, you don't have the moment of clarity after, the processing of it to be like, okay, I needed to get through that to, I needed to overcome that. This show was actually made to for exactly what you just said of trying to share these personal vulnerable stories to help others.
That's the right thing. That's the best thing to come out when somebody's vulnerable. And that I think that's the problem with my situation now is that I was open and I was extremely vulnerable and it got met with resistance and um gaslighting, more gaslighting, right? So I I'm struggling to figure out where to start this because I do have the email that I sent to my mother, and it's a lot, but it's the best. It's the best way I could explain like what happened. People always say like don't air your dirty laundry. How do you help other people process what they've been going through? If we're all bottling it up inside and letting it affect our lives and never figuring out what to do with it, how do you ever learn what to do about it if you're not talking to people about it? And how do you ever teach other people what you did about it if you never talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, I told a story, and it was the first time I ever even told anyone in the whole world about when I was sexually abused by
Right.
someone. And but me being able to tell someone felt like okay, I finally told one person, and it allowed me to actually process it more. And then in my next episode, I was able to actually talk about it again and not cry and not be all emotional about it. And I mean, I just said
Yeah.
it here right now too. Like I'm like, it's no longer something I'm holding inside,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
I could feel a lot lighter because
That's
of
it.
being
Yeah.
able to speak about it.
That's huge. Yeah, well, I mean, I'll give you some context on my end. I've done a lot in my life to try to gain appreciation from family, to be honored,
Uh,
proud, not
uh,
not necessarily proud of myself, but to have other people be proud of what I was doing.
like approval.
Approval for sure. I don't really want to say approval.
Okay.
I do, but I don't, simply because there's some context in my own head that if I said approval, it would change the way that I perceive things. But that's essentially what it is. Yeah. My I did a lot of cool things, right? I had a band. Um in 2010, we were moving really quick. My mother was very disapproved of that. Um I was also going to school at the time, which she had wanted me to go to, and it was a Christian school. And because I also had the band, she was in disapproval of that. And I had a kid when I was 20, and she was in disapproval of that. I opened an internet cafe with a friend, and she was in disapproval of that. It was like everything that I did, it wasn't just disapproval, it was her trying to fix her mistakes through me without context. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess I want to preface this by also saying I'm not bitter. I'm not trying to villainize anybody, because what she did was not her fault. Um, but the aftermath of where we're at now is her fault. And so if I could show people what that looks like and how you deal with it, and how I've dealt with it, that would be huge. So she was, my mom and dad used to fight a lot when I was a kid. My mother used to tell me that my dad was angry, and um, that he was the problem, and I believed her. And then when I moved in with my dad, he told me an opposite story, and then you just become, I don't know, you decide that there's got to be some middle ground there, you know? There's two stories, and one of them is true, one of them is, maybe both of them are true, and there's a middle line where they're both true. Um, anyway, so my mother started, she was on her third marriage with a guy that I'd known for probably 10 years or so. Like it'd been great. She decided she wanted to divorce him for a while, but she waited until this other guy had, the guy. The reason my dad was angry all the time was because she was constantly, um like when they first started dating for the first like couple of years, she was constantly cheating on him with this guy. And so when my dad told me that, I didn't believe it because my mother told me a different narrative, right? So this guy came back around. He's got cancer. My mom's second husband died from cancer, and this guy, obviously there's some emotional attachment to him because she knows what it's like to have cancer. Plus, on top of that, it's an old love from a long time ago. So before she was even done with her, it she waited. This is the thing that bothers me. I think Sly talks to me about this all the time. It's just this idea of like swinging from vine to vine. She waited until she found somebody else before she decided to make a decision on her current husband. And so before the divorce was even done, she is already thinking about getting married. So that's the backstory. That's the context. She wanted me to come to her wedding. I struggled with it for a while, and that's what this letter is. And the letter details like every single thing that I've gone through in my life. So I wrote in the letter, I need to be honest with you about something I've carried for a long time. There's a pattern I see in the way that you've lived, one where you create or worsen problems and then step in later to save people. It puts you in the role of a hero, but it leaves those closest to you carrying the pain and the fallout. When my daughter was born, you were upset that I was 19 and had a child. You were confronted about drinking and driving, no matter how, because she said it wasn't a lot, right? But it doesn't, whatever. You were confronted about that, and you already didn't like my daughter's mother at the time, which rightfully so. She wasn't the greatest person. So she sent my daughter and my baby mama at the time back to North Carolina after having convinced me to move from North Carolina to Illinois, right? Um, so I was left behind without my child, and at the time, that felt like a blessing because I don't know, you know what I mean? Like not to you're young, you're young and you don't understand, um, and you don't know what to value in life. So it was a big relief all of a sudden. But as I got older and as I look back, I'm like, what a miserable thing to do.
Yeah.
Like I would never send like my if my daughter walked in with a kid, right? I'm like, you stay with me as long as you want. I'm gonna help you take care of this thing and this kid, and we're gonna work through this.
Yeah.
Um, to send her mother away is one thing, but to send both of them away, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I should have been the right person in the right mind at the time to recognize that and be, but I wasn't. So later, her mother had decided to bring Haley back, my daughter, um, because she couldn't take care of her. So this was like 5, 6 months later, maybe a year, I don't know. But I was with somebody else. I'd found a new girlfriend at that time. Also, not the greatest girlfriend ever. But there was an incident where I went out to smoke, and my girlfriend was trying to deal with my daughter screaming. She was still, like 1 year old, maybe a little younger, and she was crying and she didn't know how to deal with her, so she was bouncing on her knee, and I was there and I saw it, and I didn't think that it was anything out of line whatsoever. But regardless, even if it was out of line, she she yelled at her and told me to get her. And again, so she was looking for there to be a problem so that she could save me from that problem. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she called my family in North Carolina and said, "Hey, David's new girlfriend." She didn't talk to me about it. She didn't try to have a conversation with me about it. She said, "David's new girlfriend is abusing Haley." And so now my dad's family is thinking that I'm abusive.
Yeah.
So her mother comes back up, rightfully so, to come get her because they think that she's abusive, that we're being abusive. When her mom comes back and gets her, granted, we're talking about a drug addict, right? We're talking about a drug addict that was now going to be taking care of my kid, and my mother knew this. She was completely okay with that until my stepmother decided to try to take custody of my daughter because the mother wasn't taking good care of her. And then all of a sudden, my mother wanted to fight for custody and pay for me to fight for custody. None of those other times, but she couldn't win, right?
Yeah.
My stepmother couldn't win. My father couldn't win. She had to win. So you see
Yeah.
the patterns. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Th-
Uh dude.
That's rough, man. That's just a lot.
Right. So when I brought that up to her multiple times, she's always said, "No, I didn't call. I didn't call. It wasn't me. It wasn't me." And this is, when it's your mother, you want to believe them. She's not a bad person. She's not a person that lies a lot. I didn't see it for what it was. My father did tell me before I moved up here to be careful and not let her lie to me, but it's your mother. So when I confronted her about it, she told me it didn't happen, that she didn't make the phone call. But as I got older, I started to think about it, and I'm like, wait, how did my grandmother know that there was a situation where my girlfriend was abusing my daughter, supposedly abusing my daughter, right? How could she have known if there was only three people in the room? you know?
Yeah.
So clearly she called. Um, but my mother then tried to turn me against my dad's family and say that they were horrible people for trying to keep me from getting my daughter back, which of course, rightfully so, right? They
Yeah.
thought I was abusive. So my entire life, that had been my badge of honor, like single father doing everything he can to save his daughter from the situation.
Yeah.
And I praise my mother for helping with that. So you see how she created a problem so she could step in and solve it and be the hero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not, is it a, it's not emotional manipulation, but it's a certain type of manipulation. I remember hearing or like learning about that when I was an RA in school. Like we had to learn when someone is doing that type of, I forget what it's called, but it's a certain type of manipulation where roommates will do that too. Like,
Like again, I don't want to bash
yeah,
anybody. She's a great person. I'm just pointing out like this is a
yeah,
pattern, and if anybody else is going through this, this is how I'm dealing with it. I don't know that she realized that that's what she was doing, and I don't know that that was her intention. I just know that she wanted to win so bad. She wanted things to happen the way that she wanted things to happen so bad that she was willing to self-sabotage in order to get the outcome that she was desiring.
yeah,
So relating that back to music, I know like this isn't necessarily a musician podcast, but relating that back to musicians, man, we do that so much and don't realize it. This is where burnout comes from. Like I'm not good enough.
yeah,
I people aren't noticing me because I'm not good enough, or people aren't noticing me because I'm not doing the thing I said I was going to do. There's this idea that the word confidence,
yeah,
the root word is confide, and the reason why you don't have confidence is because you know what you did and didn't do, because you know every lie that you've told, even the lies that you told yourself and the things that you told yourself you're going to do that you didn't do.
yeah.
So
And and
so of course your confidence is low because you don't trust yourself,
yeah.
you know?
And that's in throughout a lot of artists. I don't know if you've seen
Hmm.
that documentary I made on imposter syndrome, and I did all this
Yeah.
research. I actually wrote, that was one of my essays I wrote for, I think it was in psychology class. But yeah, there's like five different types of imposter syndromes, and like three of them, if three of them lead to burnout. One of them is the perfectionist, the other is the
Hmm.
superhero,
Yeah.
um, and the overworker or something like that. But like all three of them will lead to that. And one thing they do in film school is they tell you like first freshman year, fake it till you make it. And just that idea of faking it, because you know you're faking it. Well, you might not be,
You
but
know.
you have that in your head, which
Yeah.
is basically not
That's why,
confident.
yeah, that's exactly. That's why I don't like the term. Sly and I used to talk about that all the time. Like we would say, fake it till you make it. Like just present yourself in a way that aspires people to. It's so wrong. The better thing to do is to realize, man, this is good. Sorry. Realize who you are, what you were made to be, and that you are doing exactly what you were made to be, and then nothing can stop you. You know, and then waking up every day to try to make sure that you're not lying to yourself anymore. You're not filled with shame because you didn't do the thing that you said you were going to do. You just get up and do it, or you decide, you make a decision that's probably not worth my time. I'm not going to do it. But beating yourself up about not doing it or beating yourself up about um not being confident, it's not helpful. The shame is the worst killer. And
Yeah,
through all of this, that was always the thing because of the lack of appreciation for the things that I was doing that I liked doing. I felt shame because I felt like I wasn't good enough to speak. It's hard to say things like that and not have it affect you emotionally if you feel shame or if you feel like you're not good enough or you feel like it's not your purpose. It's not, you know. But once you align everything and say, this is what I was meant to do, this is the value that I'm bringing to this world, and I don't care what anybody thinks about it, then all of a sudden the confidence can be there
yeah,
because you're not lying to yourself anymore. You know, you're realizing this is this is what I want to do. So I'd rather say instead of fake it till you make it, I'd rather say be the person
um,
that
the
sorry, there's a
be,
deeper thing there,
be the
but
person, because if you fake it, you'll break.
yeah, yeah,
Fake it
there's
till you,
a
that's why I named it Fake It Till You Break, because that's what
fake it till you
happens.
break. Yeah, there's this concept I posted on Threads earlier today, be do how or be do have. um there's people that want to have the things but they don't want to do the things required to have it, and there's people that are trying to do the things but they can't do the things because they don't want to be the person that knows how to do the things in order to have the things that they want. And so like if you can just figure out who you are and be that person,
Yeah.
then you can start doing the things, but you can't skip ahead and just start doing the things. You have to be the person that is capable of doing the things.
And it takes exploration. Like it took me a
Hmm.
while to realize that I'm a writer. It took me and then going back, I've always been a writer. I've always written poetry. I've always told stories. I've always like concocted stories in my mind, especially when something is like, it's just like, I tripped, but I would come up with this entire story. The wind was coming and all like I always was a storyteller, but it took me till I was like, I don't know, 28 to realize
Hmm.
that is what I want to be, um, is a
And
writer.
yeah, dude. Oh, see, here's the funny thing, and I don't know. You had Chris on, right? So I'm sure you're okay with talking about like religious topics. When I was, which I actually let me preface that by saying like, what's your overall belief
I'm a
without
I'm
wherever
a
you're comfortable. Yeah,
I'm a spiritual person. My grandmother was a Santeria priestess. I have a lot of
mm.
Santeria stuff up. I got some Jesus stuff up here too.
Yeah,
I actually is one class away from a religious studies minor. I actually
nice,
dove into every single religion,
beautiful.
the
Yeah, same.
Taoist, Neigong. The religion I closely most aligned to is Sikhism, just
Sikhism.
because
Yeah,
they believe in everybody's like they believe everyone's religion is their own religion. Like there's no hate within, oh, your religion is better than my religion and stuff like that. But
yeah, I think there is a seed of truth in everything.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
Um, but for me, I found the most truth and I want to say this carefully. Did you have I can't think of her name now. Anyways, I want to say this carefully because people have been hurt, but there's a seed of truth in biblical concepts and
Oh yeah.
Christianity that's far beyond anything I've read anywhere else. But the problem is the people that are espousing Christianity, the people that are preaching it, the people that are pushing it, the people that are
Yeah.
everywhere trying to convince you that this is the place to go, they are the least likely to tell you what that truth is
Yeah. I mean,
because
I can't do institutional religion. Like
but that's the
go
problem. It's not
yeah.
institutional, but they're teaching it as it's institutional.
Yeah.
They're teaching religiosity when there's a larger spiritual concept there that is like the core of every religion, but it's like it's got and this is where I want to okay, so my statement that I was going to make was when I first went to college, I wanted to learn how to conduct business from biblical principles because I knew that there were some biblical principles in there that really made running a business um, amazing because you're focused on value, you're focused on treating other people right and helping other people, and that's it. The money
Yeah.
comes because of that. That you get blessed with the things because you're helping, and um, I don't know
That's
the religiosity of Christianity has killed it to the point where it's all about hey, you did this, you're going to go to hell. Hey, don't do this, you're going to go to hell. Hey, it's fear mongering. It's
and,
not truth
and
in
Jesus
this.
never said that.
He never he
He never
never
said
once
that.
condemned somebody and said you're going to go to. Actually, the worst people in the world, he said, go and sin no more.
Yeah.
After telling them that hey these people that were going to stone you they're probably in worse shape than you, just go and don't do this again. And I want to clarify that like the word sin has been weaponized. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean what people think it means. It literally just means to miss the mark. What is the mark? Your aims, your purpose. You're going for your purpose, and if you are missing that mark, it is not good for you. I went to school to learn how to build a business around biblical principles. And of course, the college, the Christian college I was going to did not teach that. They taught Bible and they taught business, but they didn't teach the thing that they
Yeah.
should be teaching, right? Um,
Ethics.
ethics. Well, it's far beyond it. There's some cool
Yeah,
things
no.
that yeah. Um, anyway, so the the issue was she wanted me to go to college, and she said she was going to pay for me to go, like help me pay to go through college, and she did help me buy some books, so I don't want to discount that. But she because I had a band and I had a daughter and I had college, which I had straight A's by the way at the time. I wasn't screwing around. Like I was killing it. Um I you get that every semester you get some of your money back from your tuition in order to help pay for your living expenses. And I used some of that money to fund my dream. I pulled the money out because, 4,000. It's my student loans that I have to pay back because my mother at that point had not contributed towards my student loans. Maybe she would have, but she didn't communicate that. She just hadn't. So at the point, I was like, "Hey, look, this is money that I would have spent to live. I want to do this thing, so I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna take the money and I'm gonna go invest in myself."
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. And she was so upset about it that I had done that, which rightfully so. Like if she was actually going to pay for it, then yeah. But in my life, that had never happened where she said she was going to do something and actually did it. So expectations were,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I should have never bought into the concept to begin with because that pattern had already been there. Um,
I mean, it's you're talking to someone that has over $120,000 in
bro,
student debt.
same, same.
Um, and I, because a lot of the people I was going to school with had the money to get themselves music equipment. They had this get them, and then when in film school, everyone mostly were rich, so they had these, $10,000 cameras and all this stuff, and like I had to use my pull that money out and put myself in debt just so I could
Ooh,
be at the same level as everyone else. Because if
yeah,
not, I wouldn't, I wouldn't have this mic. I wouldn't have this stand.
yeah, bro,
I, I,
a
I,
hundred
ha
percent.
I had to buy myself a music studio just so I can
And
make music.
and in the world where, okay, keep in mind my mother left me when I was 14 because um she said you have a choice. I was left behind as a kid, or I had to move when I was a kid. I don't want to make you move, so you have a choice whether to stay or to go. But I'm moving to Illinois. You can stay with your dad if you want. And so I decided to stay because I was like 2 years from graduating and I wanted to be around my friends. And she moved to Illinois with my sister. So 14, she left to go try to make something of herself. Um, and so I didn't really, that's sort of a debt, right? That I feel like needs to be either it gets paid back or a conversation is had about that. Because if your intentions is to, and I'm not talking like I'm just talking on a moral responsibility level, right? If you leave your kid to go make something of yourself and then you go and now you're making enough money, maybe you should invest in your child's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the right thing to do. I know. Okay, so let me skip ahead to when we opened up the internet cafe. So I left college because after my mother and I got in a fight over the band and I realized she wasn't supporting the music, moved out a little bit, and therefore I needed to go and work. So I'm trying to go to college, work, and run, and have a band, and have a child at the same time. And I was doing all that, but it became more and more difficult. So again, like created a problem that I didn't have before, and then well, in this case, she didn't try to swoop in to save, but later she does. I at some point went back to this internet cafe I used to work at, and I was managing that. When a friend comes in, we start talking about opening our own because my boss wasn't great at running the company, or letting me run the company for him because I was the manager. And so we decided to open our own internet cafe. Um, and so this whole time I'm watching his parents who are there every day helping build this internet cafe from the ground up. His grandfather who is helping fund this thing, right? It was like an esports gaming center that we were building. So I'm watching his parents do all that. Meanwhile, mine is like she literally, so I had moved back in at this point while like three months out from opening this thing. We already got the loan. I've already signed, like everything's happened. It's like 3 months out, and she decides, hey, I'm gonna take that the tax return that you were gonna get, that you were gonna invest in the business, and I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna save you from investing in that business because it's such a bad idea. So I'm gonna take that money and I'm gonna pay for you. I'm gonna be the hero and I'm gonna pay for you a place to stay. And I'll just pay rent at that place.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you have to move in with this girl that's psycho and live with this girl that you used to date that's psycho. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, it wasn't that clear at the time, but for me, I knew she was crazy. That's why I wasn't dating her anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and so my business partner and I had issues because now I have to pay rent at a place and he doesn't because his family's helping. And and so we can't have a 50-50 share because I can't put in the amount of money and I also need to take more out. And so that put us at odds. And my mother's response to why she did this after I talked to her um, that this guy was using me and that she was trying to prevent me from going into that. But in reality, like that's what happens in business. You use people for their skill sets. There's nothing wrong with that. Like you team up with somebody who has a skill set that you don't have, and you build a business together. It's
Yeah.
not. It's like use is a hard term to like use. Like, of course, he used me. He used me because he had the funds and not the knowledge, and I had the knowledge and not the funds. It's the logical
Yeah.
thing. And if things would have been a little more mentally stable for me, that would have been the biggest success in my life. And I don't want to put that on her because I made a lot of mistakes on the outcome of that, right? There's a lot of things I could have done better. So it's not entirely her fault, but the mental state that I was in was caused by these things.
Yeah.
So when I wrote her this letter, it was simply to say, and I haven't gone through all of it. There's so much. It was simply to say, hey, look, I I can't come to your wedding because it's your fourth wedding. I just officiated a wedding for my sister where I said these things are eternal. I understand. I understand when you have problems in a relationship. I understand getting a divorce when divorce is needed. I don't understand getting married a fourth time. Why are you getting married? What is the point at that point?
Yeah.
Um, because this would be three times. Granted, the middle one was he had died, right? So that doesn't count necessarily, but this would be the third time. And what is the point of going to get married and then going to get to pay for a divorce later? There's really, other than to have a big spectacle about your love, there's really no point. You can do that without having to sign on. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
um it's and so I realized it was affecting the way my brain was thinking because I ran into a situation where my wife and I were struggling because I started the business and she wasn't fully sure what it was and what I was doing and how she could help. And because of that, we couldn't really talk about it and it felt like disconnected and um, there were problems. And so in the midst of those problems, somebody was talking to me and it was a great conversation and it felt better than the conversations. And this isn't the first time that I've had that sort of situation where, because I like to have intellectual conversations with people and feel like there's an understanding between, obviously, because this is the thing that I was lacking from my mother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so things started to get crazy. And then I realized, like, at one point, I was legitimately thinking about maybe I should get a divorce and move out and go be with this person. Do you believe in like generational curses? Like, is that a
I was just thinking that too, the cycles that will
mm,
repeat.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like I mean, my parents both had a first marriage, and they both ended horribly. A lot of abuse on both ends. Like my dad was abused by his wife, and then my mom was abused by her husband. And then like my mom said, I'm never going to get married again.
Yeah.
And my dad never expected to get married again. And when they met, that was like one of the first things that she was like, I'm not going to ever get married again.
Yeah.
Then then she got pregnant with me. Um, and it, their love was just so pure in a way that, um, they decided to get married. So I'm in my parents' wedding photos in my mom's belly.
Yeah. That's
Um,
awesome.
and they've been together since, and it's yeah, they've had their rocky roads and stuff, but they'll push through it, and they're like they've never thought about, well, not specifically sure if they've thought about divorce, but so I do understand that aspect, but they're not trying to continue the same because both of their parents actually had multiple marriages and got divorced multiple times. And that's why my mom was like, she doesn't want to continue the cycle that has been in her family for years and years. Um, yeah. So I
That's
understand
huge.
that generational thing and not wanting to be like your parents.
Yeah, it's not even
It's
just not wanting to be like them, but it's like
yeah,
literally their thoughts are imprinted on you. So
yeah,
I talked to her through this whole thing with her husband that she's divorcing right now. Um and so I already knew her thought process on why she was leaving him. And so whenever I was having this conversation or when I was having these thoughts about what I was going to do, I found that I was justifying my own bad behavior based off of the conversations that I had with her.
yeah,
Um, and that instead of immediately, now obviously there is a time to get a divorce, obviously
yeah,
don't get a divorce and run straight into another marriage, but there is a time where divorce makes sense. um and there's some clear delineations of when that should be, in my opinion. But um the last thing you should do is just give up on day one of feeling like it. So I recognize that, hey, why am I talking to a person? What's going on here? So I talked to my wife about it. Key number one, like immediately recognize it, be upfront about it, don't hide anything. Like that's the key. Obviously, I'm not, it's not like she's not like she wanted to go through any of the messages or anything like that and see them, because we have that sort of relationship where I'm just gonna be honest because I know this is a problem with me and I want to fix it. If there's a way we can fix this, let's fix this. So we started to fix it, and obviously that person I was talking to is really hard to stop talking to somebody when you feel attached to them like that, right? Like when it's that
yeah,
deep. Um, so it's taken some time and some effort and stuff on my end, but she's been really patient as far as things go. Um, my wife, I mean.
yeah,
So that still got kind of ugly, but not with me and my wife, just with other things, things that were my fault. But um, so when I did that, I realized I needed to write my mother this letter, and all these things that were causing me to feel shame, all these things that were causing me to feel bitter, feel resentful, feel what all these things that I was feeling. I needed to put it all in a letter, and I needed to send it, and I needed to stop talking to her as long as I needed to stop talking to her, because I realized her opinion and her thoughts and her mode of thinking about my situation was influencing the decisions that I was making, and they weren't my decisions anymore.
yeah,
And that's a tough thing to do when you have to cut out your mother, you know.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but that's almost what it takes to break those barriers and succeed, because a lot of the self-sabotage comes from they think I after I sent her this, it's still long, so I don't want to go through the whole thing. But after I sent her this email, her her new to be husband, messaged me. So she never messaged me to explain herself. She never really apologized. She just said, "Thank you for sharing your feelings. Love you, mom. Hey, I'm not coming to your wedding." And then she sends me, oh God, she sends me um a letter, an invitation to her wedding after I told her I wasn't going to come, and said, "We still love you all." Like, we still love you all, as if I'm the bad guy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, we
Yeah.
love you all. That's cool. We still love you all. Still after what? Still after I told you the truth and I told you how I felt, you didn't respond.
Yeah.
Still, of course you still do. Or, like,
Yeah.
maybe that's not the context, but why send the invitation anyways?
Yeah.
Why not pick up the phone and talk to like
Yeah.
what a manipulative thing to do.
Yeah.
And this is the vulnerable part, because this has been my experience in general a lot of the times. Is I give people a lot of
Grace.
grace, yeah, trust, benefit. um I confide in people things, I give people respect, and expect it to be returned, and then when it's not, it destroys me.
Yeah.
Not even just with my mother, with friends, with other artists, with yeah, when you're doing the right thing, it's hard enough. But then on top of that, to be betrayed on top of doing the right thing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, it took a lot of courage for you to send that email. I bet.
Oh God, dude, I was shaking.
I mean, I had to cut my brothers out of my life for so many years, and I still
Mm.
haven't told them why. One of my brothers is now back in my life because he's kind of changed. He's not, but I had to do that because their imprint on me was making me always
Mm.
make bad choices or self-doubt myself for so many things. And I had to step away to grow. And when I
Yeah,
did step away from them, I was able to grow, go back to college and
yeah,
make something of myself. Because if I was still in their world, I would have still been this scared little kid who was afraid to amount to anything because my brothers didn't. And I know what my and I guess the brother who I have reconnected with, he actually opened up to me first and was saying that he was sorry that he wasn't supporting me because he personally felt like he was now like me succeeding would make him worthless in a way. Like that's how he was
yeah,
feeling.
huge.
And
Yeah,
and he, so that's why there was a lot of sabotage and self and
yeah,
being
yeah.
angry at me because I was making it.
Every every time, and I'm literally not. There's this. I don't know the full thing, but I'll give you the first two steps of it. I do know the full thing. I just can't remember it. But the first one is you set your intentions, and then immediately after you set your intentions and go after your intentions, the next thing is disruption every time.
Yeah.
And it's always right before you get the most momentum, there's disruption. Um, and a lot of that is due to the fact that people have resentment. You're doing the thing that they've wanted to do, or the thing that they don't feel like they're capable of doing, and you're close to them and they know the real you, and if you could do it, then they should be able to do it, and now they feel shame, and that shame causes them to lash out, and it sucks. You know,
Yeah.
this is why they always say don't market your music to your friends, because your friends are more likely to not want, this isn't every case, but most cases, your friends are less likely to want to support you because they know who you are, and they can't see you as the superstar that you are. Um,
And that's so damn true in my life too. Like, it's why I've really connected, like, the Threads community. I was like, there's supportive people out there that can believe in me and support me. I didn't know this.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
all of y'all have become my friends, and y'all have risen me up in such a way. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I that first time you had me on DemoNation and just allowed me to share my story, that did so much for my own self-confidence and self-worth. Like, I don't know if you really know that was like the first time I was like, maybe I
I,
should release music. And I should try with music again because
yeah,
I kind of given up on music at that point.
I didn't know specifically, but I felt it. You know what I mean? Like, you can feel. I'm. This is the problem with being an empath for me, is that I can feel deeply, and um because I feel deeply, it puts me in some really bad situations where I trust deeper than I should. I wait on people longer than I should, and I give people more chances than I should because I can feel their desire to change, but I know that there's a barrier that's stopping them from getting there. Um, and I had to come to terms with that at some point that you just can't fix people that don't necessarily want to be fixed, or you don't know how to fix them. You don't know what to
Yeah.
say. You know, you can't put that on yourself because you're not at that point, unless it's your job. And that's kind of why I like being a business consultant, is because my whole job is to help musicians break through those mental barriers. And some people don't want it. My mentor says some will, some won't. So what? You know,
Yeah.
you can't be
Yeah.
attached to the outcome of everybody because not everybody's going to put in that effort.
And you just leading by example. That was probably the biggest inspiration for me. Like seeing the positive stuff that you were doing too. Like being vulnerable wouldn't have been made if it wasn't for you having me on DemoNation that one time.
Yeah.
And now it's in like that one impact on me has now helped impact other people's lives because of being
From
vulnerable.
from a this is something I learned recently from a biblical standpoint, right? Like we're all created by a creator with pieces, with fragments of that creative power instilled in us, but everybody has a different creative ability, a different aspect of that creativity. And as a person, because you're so in yourself, it's hard to see that aspect within yourself, but other people can see it. And I think um, a lot of the times the problem is that I shouldn't say nobody, nobody's a
Yeah.
lot of people don't appreciate other people enough to point out when they see somebody's creative ability to encourage them in that, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I try to notice it when I notice it. Obviously, you don't want to mislead somebody and say, "Oh, you're really great at this thing or that thing," or when they're not. But when you find even a fragment of something they're really good at, make sure that they know that because they can't see that.
Yeah.
I can't see what I was good at when um I lost my job at True Play when I was doing sound design, and I got a lot of approval from people around me, family and whatnot, because I was working at a Christian company on kids games doing sound design, and that was great to get that approval for 2 years. When we got laid off, I spent the next 3, 4 months trying to figure out what's next. And it wasn't until I was listening to Taylor Welch talk about something. It was a podcast called Deep End. It's super spiritual, deep dive. Like if you are a beginner, like just finding any sort of faith, don't listen to it because it would be so far over your head. But it goes deep. It goes super deep, and it's crazy. So I'm listening to this, and he said, "Hey, have you ever tried to just be angry at God outwardly?" And I paused it at that point. I was driving my daughter to school, to work actually, not school. Um, and I paused it and I was like, I really don't, not anymore. I used to when I was a kid, but I haven't. Usually I'm respect, fear, all the things they teach you in religious settings and institutional,
Yeah.
right? So I paused it. I dropped my daughter off, and on my way out, like I had that angry moment, like, what the hell? I'm doing everything right. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I was doing, but everything's falling apart. It's been 3 months. I can't find a job. I'm more valuable than this. I know I'm more valuable than this. What the hell? Like cussing and everything. Like, don't be afraid to cuss a God. He's not afraid of a cuss word. You know what I mean? God is bigger
In
than a word or a
yeah.
symbol or like my mother is so freaked out, like, oh, you painted your fingernails black, or hey, there's this imagery in your videos or this messaging, like, bro, if you know how big God is, it's way bigger than that. I'm not afraid of anyways. So So I had anger, and so I was like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. Um, so I stopped and I hit play and started driving after I was done. And the next thing in this podcast, within the first 10 seconds of me turning it back on, Taylor was talking to this other guy and they were joking about a concept. And he said, "You were called to Texas." And he said, "Nah, but you should probably move to Nashville anyways," because they were joking, they were talking. But
Yeah.
in that moment, it was like, there's the answer. When I was 2 years, that whole 2 years I was working at that company, the company was in Austin. I met 5 friends named Austin. All of these Austin things kept popping up. And I was like, I need to move to Austin. But I disregarded it and everything else and didn't do anything about it. Um, and so that was a reminder, like, you're supposed to be in Austin. But I'm like, how? I don't have a job. What, like, how am I just gonna up and move a family of 4 to Austin? And
Yeah.
and I can't even pay rent right now. And so it was like the next day I actually, like, at this point, like, God hit me so hard, like I gotta pray. Like I had prayed in years, it wasn't like a
Yeah.
thing I did. I was like, I gotta sit down and like have these emotional moments more often because it's getting results. And so I felt like he was calling me. I shouldn't say felt like, he literally was like, "Hey, you're gonna start this, you're gonna manage people, and you're gonna, like, I'm gonna take care of you." And I was like, well, man, I feel bad, because he literally said, I'm gonna bring you $1 million, like it's gonna happen. And I'm like, that's huge, that's big. I can't accept that, like I've got to do something in return. So yeah, I'll build a church. I'm not a pastor, but I'll build a church. And I didn't know what that meant. Like I said it, but I didn't know what that meant, because I've gone to a lot of churches and I hate, and I really do want to use the word hate here. I hate the misleading, the hurting. Like, I know there's a lot of hurt people that need help, but the churches aren't helping. The churches, I feel like, are the ones that need the help the most. The people in the churches are the ones that are the most hypocritical, the most judgmental, the most um, sinister, cynical, all of these things. There are few that aren't, but
Yeah.
so set in their ways, so avoidant of people because they're worried that people, again, if you if your God is a God that's that powerful, you're not going to be scared to be around people that wear satanic shirts.
Yeah.
If you believe that your God is bigger than that, you're not going to be afraid of people that paint their fingernails black. You're not going to condemn those people because so it makes no sense why so many of them shut out people. I understand, like, the 5 people that you're around the most affect your, whatever. So yeah, you don't want to be around people all the time that have negative attitudes and negative outlooks and stuff. But you don't avoid those people. You don't lash out at them. You don't tell them that they're less worthy. If anything, you're less worthy. I mean, this was all that Jesus ever, and
Yeah.
like,
Uh,
that was all that he ever taught was, hey, you see these people over here that are going to church every day, and they're worshiping and doing everything right. Those are the ones that I don't want around me. Those are the ones that I want to fix and help. You guys, the sinners, the prostitutes, the tax collectors, all the people that, like,
the
those are the people that he's around.
yeah, the
Yeah, lepers,
lepers. Um,
right?
yeah.
Because the people that are in their mindsets, set a way that think that they know how to do everything. Their mind, their hearts are too hardened to even hear the truth. If they saw it in front of them, they couldn't hear it. And the truth is, like, so impactful. I think a lot of people are afraid of I don't, Christianity, afraid of God because they feel like they have to be right. They have to do the right thing. They have to do the thing that they don't want to do, give up the thing that they don't want to give up. But that's not the story at all. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
It's not.
Yes, you do, but it's not like, oh, I'm a Christian now, I can't do these things. That's the harm.
Yes.
That's the harm. You can't smoke. Everybody's going to judge you for smoking because you're a Christian. Oh, you need to quit smoking. Well, now I don't want to go to church. Now I don't
Yeah.
want to be around you because you're going to judge me every second of the day because I smoke. Um, that's not what's taught. That's not what the reality is that's there. It's the total opposite, but that's what's happening over and over again. And
Uh,
that's the sort of situation. Like, for instance, I called them out and said, look, you're marrying this man because of his because he'll pray with you. This is the first time that you've had somebody that will pray with you and be a spiritual leader for you. But your husband didn't cheat on you. So biblically speaking, you are committing adultery not once, but twice every time that you're around him, because you're committing adultery on my dad, you're committing adultery on your third husband. The second one doesn't count because he died, right? So if it's because of faith, how can you justify that?
yeah,
I understand that, like, there's nuances. Like, I'm not judgmental. Like, I don't think she's going to go to hell for that. But if you're stepping into this world to represent something, represent it the right way and not the wrong way. Because
yeah,
I got a message after this. Oh God, I'm just getting more vulnerable. I got a message after all of this that was like, um, from her husband to be, that was like, here's all the things, and um, don't blame your mother for these things. That's not the right way to be. People make mistakes, rightfully so. Um, but that wasn't why I wrote the letter. It's like, you missed the total point. Like, here's all the things. Like, understand, like, talk to me about these things. Pick up the phone and recognize that you did these things that impacted my life. I'm not blaming you for it. I'm telling you that until you accept these things and agree with me on these things, that these things have impacted my life, and we come together on and unite on these things, I can't have you around, because you're going to constantly pull me down, and I'm going to constantly expect you to be better, and you're going to constantly not, right?
yeah,
And so at the end of his letter is like, don't let the devil pull this love apart. How hypocritical,
yeah,
like, this is what I'm trying to this is what I want to I this is what gives Christians bad raps, you know?
yeah,
It, it's okay to be wrong. I'm cool if I'm wrong about any of this. Somebody tell me, like, cool. I want to be right more, and to be right more, I need to be wrong sometimes. But as far as I could see it, like that, those sorts of statements are more hurtful. How do you go from um how do I go from, hey, God told me to do this thing and now I'm doing it, and you don't agree with it because you're a Christian and you think that this is the easy way out? Like, how is this is what he said in the sorry, I should put context. That's what he said in the text message. It's the easy way out. I don't know if you're taking the easy way out or the hard way, but how could you even consider it the easy way out when it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life? When all of my clients are seeing transformational things in their own lives, like when I'm helping people and putting myself out there, and like struggling so hard myself to just get there, and burning bridges that I don't want to burn with top industry people, because I have values and I have principles. Those things are hard. The easy way out would be to go to work at 7-Eleven.
yeah,
But that's what they're saying is the hard way. Go work at 7-Eleven. That's hard. Trying to start your own business and help people, that's the easy way out. I can't, I
yeah,
can't rectify that sort of thinking. So and I want to be graceful in saying this too, because on my father's side of the family, they haven't been or seen the things that I've seen to understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and what it is. So from their perspective, when I talk to them, it feels like they're saying, "Why aren't you working in a factory?"
yeah,
Because that's the better way to live your life. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there now that are working 9 to 5 jobs that want to be artists, that want to go after their passion, but there's people like that that's telling them it's your responsibility to continue to work that job. But your only responsibility is to do what you're doing, right? Your responsibility is to figure out, who am I? What was I made to do? Why am I different? And how can I use that to help people? And then because you've been the person and now you're doing the things, naturally you're going to have the things, right?
Yeah.
And so business is an exchange of value, and people are so afraid of it.
Yeah.
Um, but that's all it is. Figure out how you can help people, and people will help you. And
Yeah.
so to say that your responsibility is to go work at 7-Eleven where you're undervalued, underappreciated, overworked, underpaid for your
Yeah.
time, mind you, which is another topic.
Yeah. You even just gave me like a new little quote. I don't know if anyone has ever quoted. Helped people help people.
Woo! Yeah, I've heard that one somewhere before. But
I
hey,
well
go with it.
the one that's
That's
always
yours, dude.
said the one that's always said is hurt people hurt people.
Mm.
Helped
But
people help people.
but hurt people, yeah, right. Hurt people can also help people through their
Yeah.
hurt. And
Yeah.
that's what being vulnerable is, I think, more than
Yeah.
anything. And that's why I'm like, man, I was talking to Sly last night, and I want to put this like as elegantly as possible. But I sincerely mean this. I was talking to Franklin XMC, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was talking about doing a daily musician radio show that he's been planning, and we were chatting about that. So I called Sly and I was like, between DemoNation, I also want to do some more long form um, podcasts where I'm diving deeper into these things like we're talking about here,
Yeah.
but in a more mentor teachery sort of way. And then your show, and then Franklin's show, we could literally take over the music industry in a way that like would change not only the way the industry is ran, but also change the lives of people that have touched it.
And Jeremy's show. I don't know if you know it. He does on Mondays. He has a music show on Twitch where
He plays
he'll
games. Yeah, yeah.
well no,
Yeah, yeah.
it's a music show where he just showcases indie artists, musicians. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Music Mondays or something that he does. But yeah,
That's
like
cool.
all
Yeah, so
Monday.
add that one in too. Yeah,
Yeah,
and so why do we have to compete, right? Like why not? Okay. Like there is no competition for any of us because we were all we were all made to do something different specifically in a unique way that nobody else has ever done, right? Like you
yeah,
can do this in a way that I could never do it. We can do DemoNation in a way that you could never do it. Jordan can play games and reviews. Like Franklin can do daily stuff in a way that I could never do it. And so why not share resources and share um, connections and share contacts and share like interviewees and whatever. Like if I get a big person sending them to you, so on and so forth, like it,
yeah,
it makes no sense. The music industry is so segmented and like everybody out to get theirs, everybody trying to spoof somebody else to get money, $5 here, $5 there because they've got a million fans. But like I want to take it in a direction of like you've got 50 people in your circle that love you and you're valuing them over and over again and they're paying your bills. And then those extra people that are there, those are people that you can afford to bless, like
yeah.
you can afford to help them. Um and that's sort of
Inspire, ins
inspire. Well, not even that, but like
yeah,
DemoNation was like, hey, if we can get 50 people on DemoNation that are helping support DemoNation, which is kind of why I had to put it on the back burner right now because it is getting so much so little financial support than I thought, and it's costing me a lot. But if we can get that way where it's like 50 people there that are continually supporting the cause and the direction, and again, like I don't, it's nobody's fault that it's not doing that other than mine. Like I haven't communicated that well, but if we can get to that point, then we have more money to go reach out to people and bring them in and show them what it could be like and have them win money, invest in their music, invest in their careers, invest in connecting them with the right people. Like I don't feel bad about charging what I charge for coaching because I know that number one, the outcome that the people are going to get after they've been working with me is far greater than the amount that they spend on the front end.
yeah,
Like they're just going to get some, but also it allows me to take that money and spend it on building people up and investing in the right people, and I can't do that and be broke at the same time.
And it
You know?
aligns with your values and your purpose as well. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
it makes
yeah,
it like that type of work makes it all worth it, and like
all worth it,
and
every
and,
minute of it.
and it makes you feel less like an imposter, some which that
Oh,
is,
bro, I feel it all the time. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, yeah, but it is one of the things that is one of the things that not cures imposter syndrome but
It
helps
does.
is
You're right.
is is helping others, and
Yeah,
because that shows your worth to yourself. If you could help this
yeah.
person and they now can now help themselves and help others, like it
There was a situation on Threads where I could have been negative about things that I wasn't. And so by having this positive sort of vibes that I was tossing out and trying to help people, um, I got a contact with a platinum mixing engineer who worked for, I don't want to misquote, I think Atlantic or Victory or something like that for a while, who had gotten to the top. And this is a word of warning for sure. If you get to the top and you reach your goals and you get the awards and you get the money, but you don't know why, what was your purpose along the way, it'll destroy you. And so
yeah,
that's what happened to her. She left it all behind to go back home and now she's helping people with burnout and things like that. Um, so I was able to make a connection with her because I didn't reach out and say, "Hey, um, let me take from you." I reached out and said, "Hey, what can I do? How can I give to you? How can I what is it that you need that I can help you with? Maybe I don't have anything. Maybe I don't have anything I can help you with, but I would at least like to try." And so when we hopped on the call, considering her stature and things, I would my imposter syndrome would kick in usually. But it wasn't because I was offering value and not asking for something. And um, because I wasn't hiding behind things, I could be upfront and say, "Hey, I'm this, and that. Like this is where I'm at." And so it turns out when you do that, you find out that that other person who you hold up on a pedestal that would normally make you feel like an imposter in that situation is actually in a worse situation than you are. And you can actually provide the help and you're the only person that can in that moment, and so you deliver on it. And to me, that's the biggest killer for imposter syndrome that I could think of, is like when you know your purpose and being right doesn't matter as much as finding out,
yeah,
trying, and being willing to be like, yeah, I was wrong. um you can't, it's hard to have imposter syndrome in that, and then the
yeah.
confidence, it changes, because I've been like beat down the past 3 weeks, feeling worthless and invaluable and distracted and uh like I can't get there, but
Yeah.
this past week, flipping that flipping that dial and understanding like this is my purpose, this is where I'm going, releasing my book and watching people's lives change because they read the book, or having people say, "Hey, that thing that you said, like I can do that. Um, I want more of this." Like
Yeah.
it's one of those things that like you just can't.
Quantify or
Yeah, you can't quantify it, and you can't take it for granted,
yeah.
for sure. Like it's so going back to the beginning of this when I said I I couldn't be a pastor, like it was a thing that I always looked at and said, "Oh, that dude preaching on stage, like nah, nah, I'm too, I couldn't get in front of stage and talk about these things. I don't have the ability to do that."
But you have built your
What
own
the fuck?
church. You've
Yeah,
built your
right.
own church.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck am I doing right now? I am, and again, cuss words doesn't matter. They're
That's made by
words.
humans.
They're made by humans. Yeah. Hey, when there was literally a tradition in the Hebrews to testify. To testify means to grab somebody's nuts and swear on their children. So that when you read in the Bible, he grabbed his thigh, he wasn't grabbing his thigh. He was grabbing
Yeah.
his testicles and swearing on the person's testicles, that basically on their children, that he was going to do the thing that he said he was going to do. So when you have that kind of language in the Bible, I'm sure
Yeah.
the F-bomb isn't gonna scare anybody away. They're words, they're meaningless unless you give them meaning, and a lot of people give them meaning. And I understand not cussing and not being bitter, and I try not to use it as being bitter. I try to use it as an expression.
Yeah. I mean, when the Bible was written, the F word didn't exist.
It didn't exist. Yeah, yeah, wasn't even
Well,
heard of.
yeah.
But it's different when you curse somebody. Like
Yeah.
they used to call it cursing. Cursing was not the same thing as cussing. So damn was a bad word, not because damn itself was the word, but because you were damning somebody. You were cursing somebody with a thought. My father used to say, "You lack common sense." And he said it enough that I believed it. That is a curse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that is a curse that I'd lived with for 10 or 15 years. Again, like not I don't want to devout like he it's not his fault.
Yeah.
He didn't know any better. This is like I still cuss at my kids sometimes and yell at them when I shouldn't. Um these
Yeah.
things happen. Like it's not my it's something we seek to change, but if you don't know, you don't know.
Like
So I don't want to
like my
be bitter.
brothers calling me a little girl because I would cry a lot. They
Yeah.
and to a point where then I would not cry.
And then
And
you
I
don't
would
cry. I try to tell, bro, I don't know. Can you Sorry, go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm so
oh
bad about that.
oh yeah, you're good. It's just like it, and it wasn't just him, other like coaches. So many
Hmm.
people call me little baby, little girl, call me the actual bad F word. Not gonna say it here because
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
cry when I feel pain. I'd
But that's a
cry.
curse. That's a
Yeah.
curse, right? Because they're not they're not using it as an expression. They're using it as a statement. There's this thing like they call God said I am that I am, right? And then you also, because you're made from God, you also are I am blank, right? And so when you attribute I am blank, that whatever that blank says, that's who you believe you are. And because you believe you are in that moment, that's who you actually are. Like you can't escape that. And so when you're cursing somebody, you're filling in that blank and making them believe that they're something they're not.
And
And because that they lose confidence in themselves because now they can't confide in themselves because they believe that I am a
yeah,
F word. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, like by them doing that, they were taking away God's greatest gift that he gave me, which is my sensitivity. And I didn't
Yeah.
realize that
Yeah.
that was my biggest strength until like
So
later on when I finally started trying to go into the
I was
arts. And yeah, they were basically taking away my greatest gift and making me believe that gift was actually a weakness and something I needed to
mm,
not be. But when I embraced it, I mean, my life changed. I was able to actually internally, I was able to not hate myself as much. I was able to not think that there was something wrong for me when I would cry when I was
yeah.
happy or mad or sad or
Yeah. Yeah. I think some guys like too in a hurry to be. I was talking to Sly about self-sabotage, and he vehemently disagreed with me on this because we're talking about kids, and he was saying that like kids in the old days, like they would have been treated way different, and like I don't want to put too much out there for him, but the concept was like my kids, I try not to scold them for crying, even though it is annoying. I try to help them manage that emotion, internalize it, even though they're kids, right? Manage it, internalize it, and then have a conversation. Because when was the last time you ever seen a kid stop crying because you spanked them? Like, no, it gets worse.
yeah,
So why? When was the last time you seen a kid stop crying because you yelled at them enough? Like, no, it gets worse. Like they just scream more. Maybe they shut up and then but at some point, maybe they do. But you're teaching them to, number one, not learn how to,
cope with their emotions or
yeah, yeah. I don't even know cope. Cope's not, I don't know,
yeah,
because cope to me feels like
yeah,
it's a negative, right? How to under be self-aware of what that emotion means.
Okay, yeah. To feel your
right?
feelings.
Yeah, yeah. And I think there's a lot of context for guys where it's like to feel your feelings feels kind of demasculating, right? But I don't mean it. There's probably a better way to put it where it's like to internalize, to be self-aware of why you are feeling what you're feeling so that you can fix the problem that is that emotion,
Yeah.
right? And then escape that emotion because that emotion otherwise is going to drive you to make decisions. Anxiety, fear, doubt, all of these things are going to drive you into a direction where like you're making poor decisions and you don't even realize it because you haven't been self-aware enough to know, why am I bitter right now? Why am I sad right now? Why am I upset? Why do I want to punch a wall? What is it about, like, because obviously somebody makes you mad, you want to punch a wall, like that's
Yeah.
an obvious thing, but why do you really want to punch a wall? Because somebody said something you like, is it because you're tired? Because I get that way when I haven't slept enough,
Yeah.
I get angry really easy. Is it because the thing that they said was true and you don't want to actually admit it and your ego's in the way, and so you got to punch a wall so that you can, like,
Or if for me, I always punch walls because I don't want to hurt anybody, so I don't punch them. I punch a wall
yeah,
and hurt myself instead.
yeah, but why do you what was the initial thing that, like, what is it in you that makes you, because you honestly you shouldn't get to a point where you have to feel that way, but
Yeah.
there's a root deep down that something was said and something didn't go the way that it needed to go, or something in your past is affecting you that now you're punching a wall. And so when you look at like people on their way to success, they get there, something doesn't happen the way that they intended it for happen to happen. They didn't know how to manage that emotion. They put that on themselves, and then they metaphorically punch the wall, and now they're back at square one because they've ruined that relationship, or they ruined that connection, that ally that they had, or that opportunity they were going to have.
Yeah.
Um, and then because of that setback, they probably quit or burn out or whatever. Um, Self-sabotage, that's all that ever causes self-sabotage, is just the lack of understanding your
Yeah.
emotion and how to deal with it and why it's there, what it's there for.
Yeah.
I love people deeply. um
Yeah.
that can be difficult.
It is, especially in this new times. Um, I was praying and at
Yeah.
one point, and I was like, why can't I find love?
Hmm.
And I got the wisdom answer back from God, that I have to love everybody.
Hmm.
I have to love everyone equally, and I have to let go of all the hate and all and forgive everybody. And by loving everyone equally, I will find love.
Yeah,
And like love as a, because that when I made that, it was more of a about relationships because I was
but
focusing
sometimes
love
you
on
get what
that.
you, yeah, you get what you asked for, not what you wanted. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And then
you
it,
ask for
it
patience and you get stuck with situations where you have to be patient. It's, yeah, continue, sorry.
yeah, I mean it was just basically, yeah, I'm now able, like I
Yeah.
love almost everyone in the world. There's just a lot of stuff going on right now that I'm like, I don't know how
when
to process that with these people, but I'm not sure if they deserve
Yeah.
love. So
Oh, I think, yeah, that's the, yeah. I think everybody deserves love, but they don't
yeah,
necessarily deserve your attention.
yeah. Uh,
Or
And I,
I should not even I shouldn't even say deserve. Your time would be better spent not giving it the attention. So that's
yeah,
the real question. What do you, when you say forgive, like how does that look to you?
let going all of my um anger that I had for, like the people who bullied me, the coaches that
Mm,
changed me to make me like this hardened person, and they really emotionally stunted me. Um,
yeah.
Person who knocked out my teeth, the person who um, shot at me,
Yeah.
mo
All that.
those people who shot at me, because I think also just like stuff that, girlfriends who cheated on me, all
Hmm.
these things, I was just holding all of this pain and emotion, and
Yeah.
it was only making me more resentful at the world
Yeah.
and less trustworthy, or less trusting in humanity. So when I was able to just give everyone grace and forgive them internally, like not just tell them they're forgiven, because I mean, probably
Yeah.
half these people don't even remember me or whatnot, but
They don't even know that they did anything wrong to,
yeah.
but yeah,
But
yeah.
I
I
remember
think
them, and I was
you remember
that.
them deeply. Yeah. Yeah. To me, I shouldn't even say to me. The way that I view forgiveness is, obviously you're not you're not causing yourself to be a doormat. That's the first and most important thing.
Did,
Like
did you see that?
forgiveness. What happened? I
All
didn't
of a
see it.
sudden, my lights started blinking in the background,
Oh, geez.
and then they just
Wow.
went out right when we were talking about. So I just lost my
Um,
backlight. There was nothing that should have turned that off. You have to click a button to,
yeah.
but it blinked. That was weird. Or
Um,
that was us on the right track.
yeah, absolutely. Forgiveness, forgiveness isn't being a doormat, right? Like I think a lot of people think you just forgive and then you start getting back around that person. The forgiveness aspect of it is number one for you to let go of those things and not let them make you bitter. It doesn't mean you forget about those things, and it doesn't mean you don't learn lessons from those things, and it doesn't mean that you don't continue to talk about those things. You just don't let those things affect you in the same way. Because like I said earlier, like me trying not to be bitter about it, me trying not to blame my issues, but still being aware of this is what happened and this is what I need to avoid and this is how I process it, right?
Yeah,
Um, it's not about being bitter or pointing fingers or anything. It's literally like you have to you have to identify what the problem was, what went wrong, um, place the blame where it was supposed to be, and then figure out how you could have avoided that so that you can put some blame on yourself as well.
yeah,
Because sometimes it is us, and it's not all the time, but sometimes it is, and then detaching yourself from that, and sometimes that also means not talking to that person ever again um, because they are going to continue to do that thing or to affect you in a negative way. But then it also means when you think about them, you don't think, oh man, I want their life to be hell because they made mine hell. You think, oh, it'd be cool if they succeeded at that thing that they're working on.
yeah,
Oh, it'd be cool if like they changed and never did that thing they did to me ever again. You know, that's forgiveness, right? Like
yeah,
you're not trusting them because forgiveness doesn't mean dis addition of trust and removal of distrust. That's like,
yeah,
it literally just means I was holding you accountable and I forgive you for what I held you accountable for after you express obviously the issue itself.
yeah,
So I think a lot
yeah,
of people get that wrong.
yeah. It's an internal thing, and
Yeah.
I think I think it was Jesus who talked about that too. That was it's like forgiveness is an internal thing. It's
He
not
does,
an
but
external.
Christians take it so far out of context and misrepresent exactly what was said because they can, and that's what they do.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
And I'm like
it,
I don't believe in the term like Christian. Like that is a cult. Like
yeah,
it's Christian to say I'm a Christian, right? The Bible never says anything about Christians. To say I'm a Christian in a way to me is to say I am part of an identity of a group of people. And now I'm linking myself up with a group of people.
I mean that's why
Um,
I just call myself spiritual.
right. So the better thing to say would be like I have a belief system and I believe everything that's in the Old Testament and New Testament to the way that I understand it.
Yeah,
And I believe in it, I believe it as a historical account, right? Like you don't have to say I'm this identity because then you're attributing yourself. You're taking responsibility. If you say you're a Christian, you're taking responsibility for all the other people that are in your identity genre. That's
Yeah.
the best way I could put it. And you can't afford to do that. So I don't like to say like I'm a Christian. I believe in Christ. I believe in the Hebrew God and the things that are there because it's been the most impactful and most influential thing that I've read of everything that I've read. And I fought it for years and years and years until it made so much sense I couldn't deny it anymore. So,
Which
you
does
know,
lead me to my story.
yeah, good. Tell me about your story. I've been waiting
Okay.
for this thing.
So I know you've heard some of this probably. I think I might have said some of it on your show. But yeah, like after I lost sports, so I was like college athlete, I fell really bad into drugs. And then I got really addicted on meth, and I just got to the lowest point. I was just mentally, I was trying to kill myself slowly with drugs. Because I always had that thing like, oh, I'm gonna go to hell if I actually kill myself, so I'm gonna let drugs kill myself, even though I would that's what I was doing.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And there's
and,
no there's no clarification on if that's the truth or not. But yeah,
yeah, no. And so I it was like closest to my darkest point, but not the darkest point. I
yeah.
started just trying to find um meaning for what is life. So I picked up the Bible. Um and specifically just New Testament, reading the New Testament, and I started seeing all this wisdom that was in it, and
Mm.
all of these like life lessons that you could learn through it. So I decided to transcribe the entire New Testament um,
Oof.
in my own words. So I
Yeah.
would read a line, I would highlight it,
Do you
and
still
then
have that? Because I would
I
love to read that. Yeah.
I do still have it, and then I would interpret it in my what I got my meaning from that line,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I did the
I
entire New Testament.
I don't want to kill your story. I just real quick. Um, the thing about the Bible and the things that are in the Bible. Number one, like clearly the Bible, the group of books that are in the Bible was decided by man. So
Yeah,
do what you will with that.
yeah,
There are other things that you can look to for more answers, like Enoch and other things.
yeah.
The Testament of Solomon's really cool, by the way, if you want to read that. Just be careful.
I,
It's really
I mean,
dark.
I was more paying attention to what Jesus
But
said and what he was teaching.
yeah. So
Um,
I like the one sentence I wanted to say there was just that um there when you read a line, there is like 15 different ways that
yeah,
that could be interpreted, and they are all almost all right. And on top of that, in the Old Testament and some of the new, like the words have multiple meanings, and usually I'd say like 99% of the times, the Hebrew word, like all multiples of that meaning, all
yeah.
make sense in that sentence and all contribute to the overall concept. It's
J
crazy, dude.
just like the Hebrew word that means man means human. It does not mean a male.
It
So
means, yeah,
it means a human.
Adama, yeah, right. It's
And,
man or woman, yeah,
and like that was one thing that I mean a lot of Christians will fight me on that, but no, I'm like, no, it doesn't say it. It just says a human and a human, not a man and a woman. That's just how they,
it's, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
There was the name Adam actually was applied to both Adam and Eve, and we've just so Adam actually means shoot, I'm gonna get this wrong. Um, hmm,
put it down in the comments, everybody. No, just
Yeah, put it down in the it's Adamite. There's two meanings because but if you separate if you take the meaning of each letter in Hebrew, um, it means something transformational, and I can't think of what it is.
yeah.
So I'm not supposed to say it if I can't remember it. Anyways, back
Yeah.
to your story.
So after really diving into all of that, I like my godparents religious, they go to church and stuff, and I was like, I want to go to church. I want to just try. Maybe I can find. something there because I was still addicted to meth. I was still
Mm.
not knowing what to do in my life, just not doing anything. But I was, yeah, sleeping on the floor. I didn't have a bed. It was like a really dark one. Went to the church and it felt like, oh, maybe this is a place I belonged that first day. So I went back the second day, and then that third week, um, they started talking about stuff that was like, oh, they talked about the charity and what that means and giving. And then I had this conversation with my godparents who because I mentioned politics and I had no idea that they were like voting for
Gonna,
Trump.
yeah, yeah.
And I was like, why aren't you living the values that you are preaching? Like y'all are not like
Mm.
didn't you understand what the guy was saying?
Like
And
like a country song where it's like God, blah blah blah, and then she's like, "Drunk Nights" is the name of the song, like getting drunk and whatever. Like, yeah, cool.
and
Like you can do what you want. I'm not judging. Like that's cool. Just be less conspicuous about
and,
it. You know what I mean?
and they basically told me that yeah, like because I was like I depend on my Medicaid for health care. Do you not care about my health care? And they were like, no. You have to go pay for your own insurance and stuff like that. Like everything they were saying took me away from God a bit. And it
Mm.
was like, I don't like this institution because I found out that everyone in that church was all Trump voters. And yeah, they,
Well, yeah. Again, like that's a that's a weird situation when it comes to like politics in general too. Like we do the same thing that we do in Christianity, where we're like, I'm a conservative or I'm a Trump voter, and then you're responsible for everybody else that has
yeah,
that title. Same thing on the left, like Kamala Harris, left, Antifa, whatever you're espousing. Like now you're responsible. You're going to be valued and looked at based off of how other people are reacting in that sphere. So it's like I think the world would fix itself if we stop attaching our identities to these concepts and start just being who you are and believing what you
yeah,
believe and espousing that, but not identifying with a group of people. Like
yeah.
it, it's silly.
And it was early right after Trump demonized all Mexicans as rapists and killers and all that stuff. And that's what really threw me like, no, I this guy I I can't support him. And my aunt is Cuban, born in Cuba and stuff. And I'm like, don't you know that he just demonized you too?
Hmm.
And just their reaction to it just made me like so I couldn't reconcile it. Um, and then I stopped kind of reading the Bible and stopped praying. And I
Hmm.
got to that darkest point. And at the same time, I had picked up a guitar and was trying to teach myself how to play, just to put my poetry to music and write poems that all this knowledge I gained from the Bible, I wanted to put it into music in a way where it's just giving the lessons.
Yeah.
Um, and I just self-doubt. I can't learn this guitar and everything that I was just like lowest point. Um, I was crying and all of a sudden I just got this like it's something that's hard to describe, but it was like felt like my
Euphoria.
it was so it was a vision of my great aunt who was my she's a Santeria priestess and she kind of helped raise me. She was like a second mother to me. She had passed. And it felt like she came to me and like she like gave me a hug and told me everything's gonna be okay if you believe in yourself and help others. I didn't hear those words, but that was what communicated to me.
Hmm.
That there is a purpose to my life now that I'm at this lowest point is to show people this and share my story and help others through help others instead of always focusing on myself.
Right.
It needed to be about other people, not just me. And it was that night. I mean, I started crying in joy and tears after that. It wasn't like sadness, and I was able to quit meth that night.
Hmm. Bro,
Which
same
is
thing.
very
Yeah,
hard for pe people
that's
to
very
do.
hard. Yeah.
And then I had a bit of survivor's guilt in a way, like how was I gifted and blessed this? I have to use this for something.
Yeah.
So that's when I kept trying to play the guitar, kept writing, kept praying, getting all of this new stuff. And then like 4 months later, I re-rolled back in college, and then I was now in music school learning music, ended up becoming the first president of a music club at Front Range,
Yeah.
and it was a guitar club, and I was able
Nice.
to impact all these people's lives, and that e- every single time I pray, it would just be like I'd get the message, you're on the right path, just keep going, just keep going,
Yeah.
just keep
Yeah.
helping, just
Just keep doing it. Yeah.
don't regress. And sometimes I had kind of regressed, but yeah, I ended up
Yeah. It's easy.
graduating with a 4.0 from that
Bro.
college, and I got all of these awards for
Mm, yeah.
academic achievements in my club. And then I just kept going. I just kept going on the path, went on to CU Denver.
And
That's
what's bigger than those awards is the badges that you get mentally when you actually help somebody. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
The, and
Biggest award ever.
yeah, the award was just more of a um like
I know.
a
Yeah.
self thing.
Yeah.
But
You need those.
I only got those awards because I was trying to help other people.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then
Oh no, I wasn't I was
yeah.
just
Oh
saying
no, yeah.
like to me because internally I was like, yeah, man, you know what? I didn't get a bunch of trophies. Then so I had to say it out loud to myself, like, you know what's better than trophies? Like actually helping people.
Yeah. Yeah, like this award I got for the meaning for suffering is doesn't matter as much as how much that musical has helped people.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I'm actually wearing, hey, I actually wore Keep Talking to End the
Nice.
Stigma.
Yeah.
This was this event that was held for mental health on my college campus, and I was like, I should submit my musical to it. And then they loved it. I was like the final person, and they played
Yeah.
it, and people just kept coming to me after saying how much it impacted them, how much like
Yeah.
they finally feel seen. And um yeah, like it that impact was the best award ever, and I was doing exactly what my purpose was to do, is to change the world one person at a time.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and that is
That I wanted to talk to you about
yeah.
because I think you could get a lot of value by being more specific with that.
So yeah, it's impacting someone's life by just being there in their life is changing their life. Because at first I was trying to change the entire world. I wanted to change the world, make it a better place. And it took me a while, because then I started having that big of a goal, started making me feel imposter syndrome, like, oh, I can't do this. Who am I to change the world?
Yeah.
But once I started looking at it more like one person at a time, just little acts of kindness, little acts of support, just being there for someone, I started seeing the world around me change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Started seeing my brothers start to get better, because they were I lead by example type thing, and they were now starting to get inspired by what I was doing rather than resenting me. And then they got their lives together, and just what I could do on an individual basis is, I mean, I've already impacted the world in a couple ways. Like I had the first diverse arts club student organization at CU Denver called
Mhm.
PACA, the People of Color Creative Alliance, that brought all of the arts, like the music, the animators, the filmmakers, the musicians, all together to collab and start working with each other, which was not there at the college. And now that has blossomed out, and it's been helping a lot of people who are they didn't have the money to fund their films, but what this organization does is it gets college grants into it to fund their films. And now
Yeah.
their art is being able to be shared with the world, and it's still going strong to this day right now, and it's still helping people's lives, and that little aspect of building community, 'cause same type of thing that you kind of did with DemoNation. And when I graduated, I didn't have that. I couldn't find community. Everyone kind of went out their own ways, and then I was kind of just stuck in limbo till for some reason, decided to try out Threads, and then I found DemoNation, and from there, everything started going again. Like my purpose started going again. Like I could literally even tie back the Forgotten all the way to your DemoNation, because
Oh wow.
all of the people I've met that are on this people that first supported this idea were the people I've met through DemoNation, to the community you've
Yeah.
built. And we're now aiming to change the world in animal conservation ways and helping out the people that are struggling like me to get into the film industry. So like
Yeah.
it all goes back to what you started and your purpose and your values and stuff like.
Yeah. That's huge.
So tell everyone what's coming up next.
The Musicians Feast or Famine, it's on Amazon for $5. It's on my website for 3 if you want it there. That gets me the money directly. I don't have to pay Amazon fees. But I'm cool. If you get it on Amazon and you love it, make sure to leave a review because those reviews are super helpful. I'm trying to get to the #1 spot in the music business category, which I'm pretty freaking close. Um, and yeah, and if you can't afford it or you're not sure if you want to pay me, then just hit me up and I'll send you a free copy. I'm not like there's no gatekeepers here. Um, I want to help everybody, and granted, like you're not going to get as much out of the book as you would from my coaching, but you'll get enough from the book to give you a game plan for how to build a business around your music with with less than 50 fans. You'll get that at least coming out. There's obviously a lot of details and intricacies in that I help people with, but it's a template. It's a good template to start and figure out what direction you're going in. What's
I was
that?
just say, for your coaching, how do they just reach out to you?
Yeah, just DM me or it would be David M. Wilkerson on Instagram. Got a phone number you can call. I'm absolutely cool with you calling. I probably won't answer right away. Or my wife might answer. Guess it's
Okay.
737-295-7876. 737-295-7876. Um, leave a voicemail if I don't answer and I'll give you a call back. I'd love to talk to anybody and help, even if we can't help, even if you can't afford it. I always try to leave people in a better place than I talk to them in. So don't be afraid to call. I'll get you resources or whatever you
Yeah.
need.
You got any music coming up?
Yeah, I'm working on a collab. I'm working on a collab with Sunset Cassette 87, 97, 87, yeah. And then the Kaiju remix from Iconic just came out. So that's on INFINA and the INFINA Spotify INFINA. People can't spell that. Is there any other music? Juno's probably coming out, but I'm waiting to we're releasing a song every collection. So we've got this collection of shirts. You can go to infinaofficial.com and check out the shirts. They are collectibles. There's only 50 total. There's three shirts, but we're only selling 50 total. I've got a stack of cards, and once those cards run out of each shirt, then the shirt gets taken down. Once we've sold all 50 of those, then that's when we release the next song. We've got like 20 left, something like
Nice.
that. Um, so we're waiting on that for the next song to come out. Simply because we needed a metric to be like, hey, it costs a lot of money to make these songs and produce them, so we need a barrier to be like, oh, we can't afford to release another song until we've done this many sales and shirts because we're not selling music.
Yeah.
It's the world we're in. Um, so yeah, that's it. I think I've got so much going on. Demo Nation's kind of been on hold. I don't know. Maybe this Thursday I could do it again. Maybe next week. I don't know. We'll see. I'm playing it by ear. You can go back and watch all the episodes of Demo Nation.
Yeah. Well,
It's everything.
thank you for being on the show, man. This is a great comp. You were right, one of the best or the best. Um,
I just know there was a lot I needed to get out. So
yeah. Well,
yeah,
well, thank you everyone for joining. We'll see you next time on Being Vulnerable. And as always, love yourself and peace, love, and understanding to others.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you.